Hi guys, Paul here from PABrewNews. Woo. Got a beer here from the New Trail Brewing Company. This is their red wine barrel aged Tripel. Don't know the ABV, but I'm assuming it's pushing at least 9% alcohol by volume. I do believe I've had the Tripel, which I do enjoy. It wasn't the most dynamic beer, if I remember, but it was an easy drinking, nice tasting Tripel that did hide the ABV quite well. So again, red wine barrel aged. This is a barrel-aged Tripel, is our Belgian-style Tripel. Really. Brewed with an assortment of wheat and Belgian candy sugars, Tripel rested on an assortment of barrels including white wine, red wine, and bourbon, and this is the red wine version, because I do really like beers in red wine barrels. And that. See, here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing about this kind of stuff is I was complaining this whole time about the lack of body, the lack of carbonation, the lack of this from these series of beers that I got from New Trail Brewing Company. And this one is extremely overcarbonated. There's no middle ground with you guys, is there? It's either completely fucking dead or blowing the fuck up. Hey, that's great. That is just super great. I don't have paper towels down here either. Only got some tissues. Only got some TP. That's all I got down here. So that is just the super duper wonderful, holistic kind of crazy goodness. You know, I just love that kind of stuff. Love getting beer all over the tablecloth. It's all good. It's fun stuff. This review is already off to a rocking start. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Beautiful. Okay. Up to light haze for days. There's a lot of beautiful soft wheat haze, of course, in this Belgian aged Tripel. A little alcohol like sticking, yeah, pushing like the number. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 9% alcohol by volume. A little bit of a white ring of a head, orange hues coming to this one. Let's get an aroma. I got the Chimay glass out. Yeah, it's got a. The funny thing is, it has a Merlot kind of a smell to it for the red wine. Not my favorite, but it has like a Cabernet Sauvignon or a Merlot kind of in that kind of realm. Very dark red wine, dry. A little brightness, little wheat qualities coming through too, tannic notes, oak. So, cheers. It's got a little bit of a carbonation to it. You can actually feel it here. There's a little bit of that Belgian candy sugar in there, a little brightness. Again, that wheat note is coming through. You have a nice little subtle brown sugar note too, mixing in there, a subtle raisin brown sugar note. You have that bold kind of soft tannic note drying in the background, earthy pepperiness. You have that red wine character, and again, it's more like it reminds me of like a Merlot, or maybe a slightly bolder Cabernet Sauvignon. Those kind of red, very dry red wine tonalities, not very bright. You know what I mean? It's more those black currants, those dark cherries, those kind of tonalities. Very dry red wine. There's a nice little hint of a vanilla kind of character in there too. It's mixing with the brightness. It's I don't know. It's giving me a slight kind of cakey biscuity kind of vibe, which is nice because it's mixing with that wheat note. A little bit of a sweetness is coming from that almost a vanilla quality, mixing with that Belgian candy sugar. So it's very sweet. It's actually a very sweet beer. It's drying out a little bit because of those tannic notes from the barrel aging, but other than that, it's a very sweet beer. I do remember their Tripel being very, very sweet, very bready, very sweet, and it's not, you know, it's very it's transcending exactly the way I remember it too. A lot of carbonation going on, so it's definitely going to have to breathe for about 1,000,000 years. I don't know what all that is about. You got that tannic, nice little red wine note, but there's something else in there. Something, a little bit of a hint of an orange, a little bit of a citrus peel, just a hint mixing in there too. Then you have that brightness, maybe a little bit of a coriander or bubblegum as well, kind of kicking up through that from the hops that they used. Maybe a little bit of the yeast as well, kind of giving it a little bit of a bubblegum, a little bit of a hint of a lemon rind, or not, or orange rind, a little bit of an orange rind, a little bit of bubblegummy kind of quality mixing in there. Even, excuse me, a little coriander kind of complex in there, but a lot of different notes of wheat, candied sugar, and then you have that kind of slight nuance of a brown sugar, tannic notes. You have that red wine quality. It's not bad. I really wish it didn't blow up all over my fucking table. That sucks. But hey, it is what it is. Excuse me. It was overcarbonated in the bottle. To heavens, I wish you could have took that overcarbonation and then undercarbonation and just met everything in the nice middle, where everything just had a nice, soft, vibrant carbonation. Oh, what a beautiful day that would have been. But not to be into fruition. Not to happen. So, anyway, I'm pissed off about the whole thing, but I took it as it came. You know what I mean? Like, oh, there's beer, whatever, move on. It sucks, but what can you do? So, again, another thing I probably wasn't very happy with the barrel aging series. You get your carbonation straight, man. You either don't do enough of it, or you do way too much, obviously. So, plus that there's a lot of sweetness in this beer, and the re-fermentation within the bottle, it can get kind of crazy. It's what happens. It's what happens. And the one thing I can say about most of those other beers, the Baltic Porter I had, and the variants of the Moonlit, they weren't sweet at all. So maybe if that was a little bit kicked up more sweetness in the beer, that would have carved up a little bit nicer, and there you go. So live and learn. But it's not a bad Tripel. Obviously, I've had many, many better styles of the Tripels, especially the barrel-aged stuff. I've had some really, really nice barrel-aged Tripels and barrel-aged quads in my day from different breweries from Belgium and from America and beyond, of course. But it's nice. It's definitely a nice beer. I think I gave the Tripel, I think an 8.5, 8. I think I'm okay with giving that the same grade here. It's not blowing me away. It's very solid. It's a solid style. I've had better. I'm not gonna put the fact that it blew up everywhere and it's overcarbonated. I'm just gonna let it breathe, do its thing. But for the flavors that I get, the body that I like the body, very wheat heavy. Usually the Tripels are a little cloudy, but a lot, not as, hazy. Except for a beautiful carbonation, of course. Like I said, I've had some really good Tripels that are in the 8.5, 9, 9.5 region. You know what I mean? So I can't put that there, but I think 8 is a good score for this one. This is the barrel-aged Tripel from New Trail Brewing Company from Williamsport, Pennsylvania, technically Jaysburg. If you go from Williamsport on 3rd Street over to Newberry, take a left, goes to Jaysburg, and you pass Ripstein's Brewing Company, which I've had them on the channel before. Please do check them out if you go down to the area to check out New Trail. But this has been Paul from PABrewNews. Cheers.